Hi everybody, this is Richard Slay, and I recently did a video on using your memory as in the process of learning music, and how we can pick little projects to do as memorization projects that we're taking over consciously the programming of our own mind. Now, if you listen to a lot of news, you're going to hear messages come in over and over and over and over and over again. And if you're not careful, that can program you to have a worldview that you wouldn't consciously pick. And so how do you deal with this sort of thing? Well, there's a lot of ways to do this. As musicians, we know the power of our subconscious mind and our memory, that when we put content in our subconscious mind through rigorous practice, that it's there for us to run with. We can do the same thing with our own self-image and our worldview. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about consciously choosing something to memorize that will give you a reboot when you need it. I remember once when a number of years ago I was at my parents' house, and there was supposed to be a meteorite shower, and we went out in the backyard with blankets, and we were kind of hanging out. The stars were out, and we were just waiting to see what would happen. And something triggered my parents to start reciting stuff that they learned when they were in school. And my dad recited from memory the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, which is a really cool poem, and it's this wonderful Victorian version of Stoic philosophy that is very well crafted. And I know that my dad memorized that when he was in high school. And it's probably one of the things he turned to during World War II, when he was going through a number of really crazy situations. And I have picked a couple of things over the years to memorize myself, and I'm going to give you one example today. And this was something I was looking around, and I remember hearing this or reading this quote from George Bernard Shaw, and I said, that's it. That's the way I want to be. And I started reading it and rereading it, and then I just said, I'm going to memorize this. And I ended up memorizing it. I still have to refresh my memory from time to time, but I think I basically got it. I wrote it out longhand. I repeated it to myself, and I find it's something that I can pull up when I need to clear up my thinking. And it goes like this. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature, instead of a feverish, selfish clod of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. When I die, I want to be thoroughly used up, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a splendid torch which I hold for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible until I pass it on to future generations. So I found that quote to really be a quick game changer for me. If I'm in the middle of a situation and I'm just kind of, tanking, and I recall that to myself. And there's another thing about this process which is interesting. When you remember these things, writing them out in longhand impresses it on your brain, on your subconscious mind. But speaking it also gives it incredible power. When you add your breath to words that you want to remember, you will impress, you give them a lot more power. Which is why it's important that even if you have a lot of crazy thoughts going on in your head, if you can just let them keep moving and don't verbalize them. As soon as you verbalize a thought in your head, you're giving it a lot more power. So that's another aspect of this process that I think is interesting, and it's worth experimenting with. And I believe it, and I'm careful about what I say for that reason. So I'll get back to the music stuff with the next video, but I just wanted to throw this idea out as something for you to consider. If there's a quote that you particularly love, a passage, maybe now is a great time to get that out and start putting it into your deep memory. It can be a real source of strength and comfort in times of stress. So thanks for listening. I'll see you again soon.